by the medical officers. Notwithstanding, it would appear that many do not know. And this is an area where I firmly believe that we need to improve. Because out of their 5 recommendations, while of course there were some that were not practical, but many of them align with the plans of the government, and also they were assured that many of the things that they recommended were in fact things that we have been actively working on to improve their circumstance. As a matter of fact, by the end of this month, even issues related to salaries, which they did not raise in the meeting, their circumstance will be improved largely for many of them, particularly those who are appointed. And I'm understanding that they may in fact receive at least $900 increase by the end of the month. And for others who are on contract, the situation will change after review process is done with the contracts for the next cycle of engagement. So I think fundamentally this really is the issue. We have tremendous compassion for the medical officers and the staff. I'm sensitive to many of the issues. When I look at them and I speak to them, I see them as young, progressive people, largely. People who have studied for years, 7 years to 10 years, and who have chosen to return to Dominica. And we will do all we can as a government. I will do all I can as a young person who identifies in them to improve their circumstance as much as possible. And I do not believe that this will escalate, because there are open lines for communication. We have been meeting actively, and we have been addressing many of the issues. And like I'm saying, the issues are not new to us. Hence the reason why we already have solutions unfolding now, because we did not just start working last week. We are at the point of results. And that's why I asked for the indulgence to get the results. These doctors are very reasonable, and by way of their code of ethics, they are aware of their responsibility to have some form of beneficence, and their responsibility to non-maleficence, to ensure also that patients are not at risk by any of their actions. And I know and I trust that we'll continue to work and resolve all issues that we are confronted with.
Come and have a second bite. PM, there seems to be some issue with NEP workers. Some of them have not gotten paid yet, and they seem to be saying, when will they get paid? So they asked me to ask that question on their behalf. Someone also asked, wants to know, as it relates to the national debt, what's the country's national debt? And a third person is asking a very interesting question. It is my understanding, repackages, that when Liat was in effect, the main airline for handling mails was Liat. Under the new agreement, Air Antilles was the one, but since Air Antilles seems to have gone into liquidation at about July 23rd, 2023, the post office is now stagnant ever since the liquidation. What are the measures taking place to deal with that situation as it relates to the post office? Yes.
I find the bouncers coming. The bowling is very rough. I have to go on the back foot there. You know, in respect to the NEP workers, there are different categories of NEP engagement. So there are people who work in the private sector. There are people who work in the government system, the public sector. And there are people who work in the beautification program